Hello there and welcome back to the GlupCast. I'm your host Jack, joined by my wonderful co-host James. Now today, if you haven't watched our Batman 2 video, go back and watch and see our thoughts and discussions around the upcoming movie. For this particular episode, we decided to have a little bit of a gentleman's debate on a particular topic. What are we going to be discussing?
He's going to call it a gentleman's debate. This is a deep-seated, angry rant.
This is a Trump v Biden special.
Me and Jack, we're very good friends. We have a lot of similar views. We like a lot of the same things. But we also disagree on a fair bit. And this is probably going to be the first in what I imagine will be a series of things we disagree on. And today we'll be talking about Batman. Specifically, whether he should be in the DCU. I'm going to say, he slips in like, Batman, Master Wayne. We'll be talking about DCU today. And whether Robert Pattinson should be in the DCU as the DCU's Batman. We'll make it very clear now. Jack thinks yes, I think no. But we'll get into our reasons for those thoughts and why I'm right.
Of course, we'll listen to James's meaningless drivel and absolute, nonsensical mumblings of a buffoon. You'll then hear my nuanced reasoning and rationale for why I think Rob Pattinson would be absolutely peak in the DCU. But let's get straight into it. I don't know who's going to go first. Rock, paper, scissors, maybe?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, all right.
Right. We'll do it on camera for the purpose of the audience, just so they know.
We're doing rock, paper, scissors, shoot, or 1, 2, and on 3?
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Okay, fine.
Okay, ready?
Best of 3 or just 1 and done?
1. This is a man's game.
Okay, we're ready?
Ready?
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. James
Here we go.
First for his reasons for, against.
So, my side of things is Robert Pattinson should not be the DCU's Batman.
Woo.
Now, my reasons for thinking that are, what I would really like to see from the DCU is not just, I don't want to use the word comic booky, because the Batman was comic booky in a sense. It was quite grounded. It was a detective movie, but that does fit a lot of Batman's comic. What I want to see from the DCU is more of what I would consider sort of like that golden age sort of colourful comic idea. And I think Superman captured that really well. So from the DCU Batman, what I want to see is the blue and the grey. I want to see him, he's got a Batcave with a huge T-Rex in it. He is this, sort of quintessential comic Batman that, I can envision being a part of the Justice League, being involved in these things. And Robert Pattinson, I just can't. And that's not a fault of, him playing the character. It's just the world he's set in. To me, it just doesn't give those vibes. I just don't think it works. That's my main sticking point. There are other things, but, that's what I think.
No, and I mean, they are fair points. And
they're correct points is what they are.
I would be inclined to agree, guest starring.
Yeah.
I would be inclined to agree on the most part in terms of, there needs to be some sort of difference. However, my caveat to that is, you read Batman and Long Halloween, right? That's a grounded, dark, kind of somewhat realistic Batman who goes on to meet Superman, who goes on to become a member of the Justice League and fighting alongside his...
You really want to be in this video, don't you?
Getting the limelight. Look at him go.
He's helping my point. People will side with this.
Well, my point is that just because The Batman was the kind of gritty, grounded film it was, doesn't mean he can't go on to become the Batman you just referred to.
But the problem I have is, how is he going to become that? Because we've got like another Batman movie coming out, like part 2, which presumably not going to have developed that much. But then we're going to be throwing him into this world with Superman. It just doesn't work. It does not work.
Superman could be in the part 2. He could be helping.
He's not. Honestly, I would walk out of the movie if he was in it. Like
you're saying it can't work, but you'd read a comic. Take this one for example. Who appears in that? Superman appears in that. Oh, and
yeah,
a cool fight scene.
I think it works easier in comics because anything can happen, and any artist or writer can make it their own thing. Movies, I think, are such like a there's so many elements that come together to make that movie, and they become so, I don't want to use this term, but like vibe based. That like
Vibe based.
I just don't think it just doesn't work. Now I'm not saying that I don't think the characters could work together. Like seeing David Corenswet's Superman and Robert Pattinson's Batman, I think can work. You sent me an edit the other day, which is like the two of them and like sort of parallels in their movies and stuff, and it was pretty cool. But it won't be a good movie. It won't be a good movie. You can't tell me that the Batman took place in the same universe as Superman, because it doesn't work.
It could have done. My point being,
it didn't.
Gotham Metropolis in the comics are such different places and like polar extremes of one another. Why couldn't the dark and gloomy, crackhead-filled Gotham parallel to the sunny, happy days Metropolis, and have their own realms and then cross over, helping each other out in their respective realms? Like, just because it hasn't happened in a film yet doesn't mean it could not happen and work.
Well, we have had it in a film.
Would have been.
Well, we had Batman vs Superman.
Yeah, let's talk about that. But I mean, like, just because it hasn't happened yet in the Batman universe.
The problem is, you're wrong. That is the crux of it. It just doesn't work. Now, what I would like to see, a little plug and to show that we are relevant with the times, I've been reading the new Batman series by Matt Fraction, which is excellent. That is what I would love to see from the DCU's Batman. Again, give me that like the bright blue and grey, give him a sort of classic look, potentially give him a more, I don't want to use the word hopeful. Like, I mean, Superman was sort of that whole film was about sort of hope and him being the sort of personification of that. And I know that the Batman ended with him sort of coming to that realization, but I still think in the Batman Part 2 we're probably going to get a somewhat cynical, sort of grounded Batman. Whereas I would potentially like to see something different. I think I see it as the DCU is an opportunity to do something we haven't seen or aren't going to see from Robert Pattinson's Batman. I think they've already set him on a trajectory which I would love to see fulfilled without having to try and marry up with other things. Whereas DCU's Batman could be anything. And that's where I think the potential lies.
Yeah, and there is potential, I'll give you that.
So I'm right, is what you're saying.
Counterpoint being, okay, we have got, in my opinion, a phenomenal casting of David Corenswet Superman, and we have got an absolutely perfect casting, Robert Pattinson as Batman. Why not use these two actors together while we got them, rather than, let's find another Batman, shove him in,
But
we're not going to be invested in that Batman, and, not as an issue for us, like-minded people. But the general audience are going to go, I thought Batman's coming out next year, now there's another Batman coming out.
But you can't make these films for a general audience anymore, because the MCU, for instance, I don't think the average person can go and see one of those. I'm not saying that that's how it should be, but I think it's just a fact of how it is, because there's so much you've got to catch up on. I think Fantastic Four was the first one in a long time that you could just go and see that, because it wasn't connected to anything. It was in its own universe.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's kind of why I liked it, because I don't agree that, people should be able to go to the cinema and watch the new Superman film, the new Batman film, without having to watch, 25 previous films.
But my point being is it's going to be more difficult for them to watch. Now there's two Batman, they're going to have to go, okay, which one are we watching first? Do they need to research, why is there a new Batman?
You
why
can
is
just
he not
search
the
up
same?
on Google, it takes 2 seconds.
But that's my point, you're saying they shouldn't have to research a film before they watch it and know all this stuff.
No, because it's different. The MCU, for instance.
Oh, that's different. Sorry.
It is different. The MCU, you've got to watch them all, or at least know about them.
You just Google it in 2 seconds.
The Batman, there's one... No, you can't Google that in 2 seconds, but
Yes, you can.
Google... You can Google, what do I have to watch the new Batman film? And it's going to say, you watch Superman and whatever else
It's going to say, watch the Batman.
No, it won't.
2022 before you watch.
It's stupid. And they can set up a new Batman and people can become invested in him, and they'll become invested in him because he is part of this James Gunn verse, the DCU, but they'll still watch Robert Pattinson's Batman. Audiences are smarter, Do you
want to retract that statement before we finish it?
I'm not going to be too flattering. Most people are smarter than I think people would give them credit for. Don't get me wrong. I know there are going to be people that will be confused by it.
My nan.
But are we
know
making
what's going
films?
on.
But is your nan going to watch the film? She's not.
You don't know that.
Irrelevant.
You don't know
She's
that.
irrelevant.
Don't call my nan irrelevant.
Well, she is. To this debate, she is utterly meaningless. I do hope she doesn't watch this. Does she watch these?
For your sake, I hope she doesn't.
To Jack's nan, just to be clear, I have no ill feeling towards you.
I'm glad.
But in this debate, you are of no consequence. That's just the fact of it. No, I frankly don't care about your nan not being able to watch this film. We are in this world now of, the MCU has crossed a bridge that we can't come back from. We're in this world of cinematic universes and, having to catch up and watch this, that, or the other to be able to watch something else and post-credit scenes. People will watch it. And the people that are going to see it, yes, there will be general audiences, absolutely. But there will be a ton of comic fans going to see it, and they will know what they're going to see and what they have to watch. I agree that there is initial... It's almost like start-up costs having to get involved because you have to introduce a new Batman and you've got to, warm him to audiences. But Superman's done that in one movie. So we can have a Batman film and then we can put him in something. And I think that will be enough. Whereas what I would hate more than anything is I came out of the Batman. That was the first midnight screening of a film I'd ever gone to see. And that was probably one of, if not my favourite cinema experience. I loved that film. And I would just hate to see that go on a decline because they then have to factor him into Superman 5, where Robert Pattinson then turns up and he's fighting Darkseid and then just goes back to Gotham and sees Jim and he's like, oh yeah, the Riddler's out again, we got to go and stop him. And he's still just like a serial killer, just killing people. It doesn't work in my mind. And I know what you can say, the comics are like that. Irrelevant.
It's not relevant.
Irrelevant twaddle.
The source material.
Irrelevant twaddle.
No, the source material it's based on can do that seamlessly, and no one bats an eye.
Because comics aren't the same as films.
But if it's based on the same story, why isn't it?
Because they're not the same.
Just because the pictures aren't moving doesn't change the theme and the story it's telling. I still believe, because he has to, because he's Batman. He's not going to just, I'm too good for Gotham now.
He's not too good for it, but it won't fit the vibes.
Okay, I'm going to use MCU as an example here. Avengers, right? Iron Man, for example, goes from fighting terrorists and crackheads in suits to T'Challa in the whole Battle of New York. He then goes straight back to fighting some chumps from AIM, the film.
Well, I think they're a fairly big threat, and it's a personal threat to him, so I can allow that. But also, I don't. If we're citing good, I don't think the Iron Man trajectory is the best.
I'm not exactly trying to claim that to be an Oscar-worthy film. I'm saying, for the arc of a character and the flow of a series, that still worked having them go from big threat to tiny, pointless kind of Saturday afternoon.
The problem I have with it is you're going to have, for example, having Robert Pattinson's Batman come back from whatever he does in that big, fighting Darkseid or Justice League movie, whatever, come back to Gotham and, find the Riddler again, or someone like Victor Zsasz, whatever. That's fine, because I can see Robert Pattinson doing that, because he's done it in the first Batman movie. What I then struggle with is I can't imagine him being the Batman that I think the DCU needs.
But the one is first.
Yeah, I heard it as soon as I said it. But my point being that I think, as I said, I just think it's the potential of the DCU to give us this Batman we haven't seen before, because we have had sort of more comic... Again, I don't want to use the comic booky, but those more...
Irrelevant comic books you referred to earlier.
No. You know what I mean? Of him being this, picture Batman the Brave and the Bold. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I want it to be. I mean, I suppose that's what the movie's called.
Yeah, I think so.
Give us, we touched on this very briefly on our Batman TV. We kind of forgot to talk about Robin completely. We weren't fully against him appearing in the Batman, but I would love to see him even more in this movie, because we can have this comic book Batman. He's got Robin with him. He's in, I'm not saying the tiny shorts, but give him the bright suit, Yeah, that's what it could be. And I can't see Robert Pattinson doing that.
Batman 2, he finds Robin, Brave and the Bold is the development going forward.
Robin in the Batman 2 is going to be wearing like a flak jacket and like a stab vest. He's not going to be wearing like
He's going to be that kid
Robin
from the beginning of
outfit.
the first one at the train station.
The amount of times I've seen that like post. But no, it's not that Robert Pattinson is a bad actor or a bad Batman. He's a very good Batman at being his specific Batman. But his specific Batman is not what the DCU needs, in my view.
Counterpoint.
Counter that, go on. There isn't one.
Superman is the...
Hush.
You're saying he's not the one the DCU needs, right? But if we're getting, for example, like a world's finest movie, we're going to have Batman, Superman as leading this franchise side by side. We don't need two bright and colourful, happy-go-lucky. Not saying Batman would be that extreme as Superman, but I think we need that bright blue. There's just the whole character dynamic, the Boy Scout and the brooding detective, right? And Rob Pattinson meets that criteria to a T. So why not keep that contrast? Why not keep that contrast of literally hope with the bright, like Superman is everything he is, and then Nirvana blasting out of his Batmobile with Rob Pattinson?
It's too dark. It's too extreme. I can't accept it because he doesn't. Robert Pattinson's Batman is not sat in the invisible jet with Wonder Woman and Superman.
No one's sat in that jet. Do not include that. I don't care what Batman it is. I don't want to see the fucking. Well, I'm not going to see it, but I don't want the invisible jet to be a thing.
What I mean is the Batman that's in the animated Justice League movies. Don't get me wrong. He's still Batman, obviously, but he fits in with how he is in the animated series, which is not, in my view, what Robert Pattinson is like. Robert Pattinson lives in a much darker world, I think, and I can't see that. I'm not like, how I'm viewing the DCU's Batman. Don't get me wrong, he still has to have that sort of element of darkness to him. His parents were killed in front of him. He's not going to be, all smiles and, but what I see in my head with him and Superman interacting, it's not Robert Pattinson. It just doesn't square away in my mind. I'm not saying he should be, I want him to have the costume and have Robin there and stuff like that, but I'm not saying he should be, like cracking jokes every 2 seconds and like that. I just need him to be something different to Robert Pattinson.
You want Adam West with a sharp...
No, I don't want... At risk of attracting, the wrath of the internet, I'm not the biggest Adam West fan. Like, I didn't grow up with it. I've obviously...
I'm not 35 years old. I'm 45.
Even 55. Older, I reckon.
Yeah, whatever it was.
I've obviously seen bits of it and I know of it. I don't hold any ill will towards it, but it's not something that was important to me growing up. And I don't want to see that. I don't want to see him with like the campy gadgets, and I don't want to see Pow come up and he punches someone. Just at some sort of mid ground between that and like Robert Pattinson. It's like saying Christian Bale should be in these films. He wouldn't fit. He doesn't work in this universe. I hope you would agree. Unless you are, if you don't, you are talking dribble because it doesn't work.
No, but my point being, you need to let something happen to make it work. My point being, if we didn't know any different and Christian Bale was cast as him in The Brave and the Bold coming out in a few years' time, you wouldn't sit there and go, "Oh, that doesn't work." Like if you give them the time to breathe and write that story, I feel like you could get any Batman that we've seen previously and have them. Take this caveat then, for example, Ben Affleck Batman.
Yeah.
He obviously was in the Justice League.
Yeah.
If he had a solo Batman film before Superman was introduced, would you have sat there and gone, "I can't imagine Ben Affleck Batman fighting Superman"?
No, because Ben Affleck is not the same as Robert Pattinson. I think there's a distinction there.
No, yeah, there is, but my point being is you just accept he could be in it because he already has been. But if we had never had Batman v Superman, but we had a Ben Affleck movie that came out after Dark Knight, as a, let's say that Deathstroke film they wanted to make. No connection to Superman, no connection to anything like otherworldly, just Batman Deathstroke movie.
But there's a whole other side of that, because the Batman we see in Batman vs Superman is already at that stage in his career where it's like Dark Knight Returns. He's had a Robin, he's got the suit in there. He's already at this later stage in his career. That's not what I want from DCU.
Surely that's harder to believe that he's gone this 30-year career and never met Superman, never met any other character from DC. Like, surely it's better to have a Batman that's just started than meet the wider universe.
And that's what I'm saying. But
Then
have a
opposed to-
different one. You don't look.
Good lord of this guy.
This can't be a discussion. Like, I don't understand how this is not a popular viewpoint. It's just
Well, may could be, but I've seen many people with the same view myself.
You-
I've seen many people in the same camp as yourself. I think
Yeah.
it's definitely a topic that will be debated until the day is confirmed what they're going to do with it.
well, no, I think it basically is confirmed. Unless they pull a fake out. Last I heard, and please do correct me if I'm wrong, but
His
last
word
I
means
heard,
nothing.
it was James Gunn or Matt Reeves. I want to say it was James Gunn. Confirmed that the Batman Part 2 is Elseworlds, which is DCU's, separate, like the Joker. It's separate.
But I don't believe he said
universe.
we'll see what comes of that in terms of... It wasn't a definitive, nah.
Honestly, if they do something where they like pull him from the multiverse and he ends up,
No, I don't think they'll go...
I
Because that, I agree, would be shit.
it's gonna be shit regardless. Like, don't do it, James Gunn. If you ever watch this video, I know you're a man of the internet. You do survey what people are talking about with these movies. Please, I beg you, consider this my like Princess Leia moment. Please, you're my only hope. Don't fucking do this to me.
James Gunn, you ready for this? On World's Finest, 2028, David Cornsweet, Robert Pattinson.
No.
$1 million.
No. Different Batman.
Gazillion V-Bucks
And-
coming your way.
I'm not saying that I have all the answers. I don't know who I would cast necessarily, but not Robert Pattinson. It doesn't need to happen. All I'm having to do here is, I'm standing up for what's right, what's logical, and I'm hearing the ramblings of a mumbling, bumbling fool just talking nonsense.
You are blinded with rage. You don't see the truth.
But you genuinely think, in your heart of hearts, that it would work with Robert Pattinson?
I think they could make it work, 100%.
That's not a yes. You said they
Yes,
could.
I think they could make it work.
I mean, this video was never going to end with one of us being like, oh yeah, fair enough, actually, you're right. But
Then you get my buddy.
you're definitely not right. I hate to say it, because like I say, we do agree on quite a lot. We have a lot of the same interests, but you are wrong.
Well, we'll let the audience decide who is right and who is wrong.
You know what makes sense. The people watching this video know that I'm talking sense. But please do leave your comments.
Grody. So that was our debate around whether Robert Pattinson should be the DCU's Batman.
Debate is a strong word. It was an evisceration.
I told you the answer. You had a crash out about it. We could go on for hours around who we'd like to appear. Because whilst I'm in this camp, that's not me saying if they decided to cast a new one, I'd be like, wah, I'd be fine.
Oh no,
if
it sounds
they
like you
did a
would
new-
be. Sounds like you would be, from what you're saying. No, it's got to be Robert Pattinson. It's got to be Robert Pattinson, guys.
I'm not saying it has to be. I'm saying I want it to be. But if they turn around tomorrow and said,
I don't give a damn about what you want.
shut your whore mouth.
They are going to cast my guy, Pedro Pascal, as Batman.
Timothy Chalamet as Batman.
No, like I say, I don't know who I'd want it to be. Just not Robert Pattinson, and it's no disrespect to the guy. He's great, but let him be great doing his thing.
I'm sure when we get more news come through, if we find out a definitive answer, if we get some castings come through soon, so I know there's a lot of traffic in a minute around an actor, I can't recall his name, but you know the one guy, you've seen him around.
That guy.
Brendan something. Brendan's got a weird Skriller name. I don't know what it is. You know the one I'm talking about. I'll put an image. I can't think of the guy's fucking name.
Oh yeah, Brandon Skriller.
Yeah, he's a well-known actor. But with all that being said, whether I'm right, he's right, whatever it may be, let us know your thoughts down below. Would you like Rob Pattinson to carry over? Who would you pick as your preference for the DCU Batman? Do you want to see another kind of old grizzled Batman appear, or do you want to see another, a day one Batman again?
Not day one.
Reintroduced.
Not day one. Film. Not day one.
If you want to waste time doing that, but you've already got a perfect film sat there, I mean, it's up to you guys, but your money, whatever.
Cody knows I might, don't you?
Yeah. Cody, say nothing if you think Robert Pattinson should be in the DC.
He's going to learn how to speak right now because he's just heard the nonsense you said.
But all in all, thank you once again for watching. Thank you again for your continued support for the GlupCast. We're sure to have more Batman-esque and DC-related content coming out as more news and content comes out. Yeah,
we'll keep you updated on the movies as they come. Any new Batman news, we'll be sure to be talking about it. But with that being said, I don't think there's anything more to say between us ever again, really.
We're over.
That's the end. Don't talk to me.
Thanks for watching. Till next time.